Hello, everybody. I'm Ella, and this is Kane, and welcome to the Book
Hello.
Dragon podcast. So today we're going to
Yeah.
do a writing podcast. So we're going to talk about everything about our projects and Nano and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah. Now, it's been a while since we've actually successfully done a nano. Well, me, anyways. I think my first nano I won, completed it, and that's it. And that was 3 years ago.
Yeah, the last few I haven't done that well, but it's because I got to a certain point and I just didn't write for the rest of the month. So yeah, failed.
Yeah.
So, but there is a Camp Nano next month, which I might try and do.
Cool. Yeah. I'll try that. I'll try to. Because I always thought there was only two, but Camp Nano, yeah, that's the one I
Camp Nano,
successfully
there's a
did.
couple, I think, and then obviously you got the Nanowrimo.
But yeah. Yeah, the Nano was actually the thing that got me started to write, because I think I've always wanted to write for ages, but I can never think of ideas. But the point of Nano is sort of like you're forced to write in a certain amount in a certain month.
Was it Camp Nano that you started, or was it the full 50k?
It was the Camp Nano, so it was my own
You eased
limit. So I
into
think I
it,
did
yeah.
10,000 words.
Yeah.
But yeah, that one I started straight from scratch. I had no planning, nothing. I literally just sat down, started writing, which was nice for the first half of the book because I could just write it all down without a problem. But then when it got to the second half, that's when it came into issue because I had no idea, no notes on what happened beforehand. So the only way to get it is to reread it all.
Yeah.
And because I sort of swapped genres halfway through, that made it tricky.
Yeah.
Yeah, when I did that Nano, was that your first as well? Was that?
No, I think I did a few before you did yours.
Oh, okay.
If I remember rightly. Did at least one.
Yeah. That was your first book that you've trying to be writing for many a year.
Yes, my book got the idea in 2014, and I think I wrote, I want to say 15,000 words, and then I took a 2-year break from it. But I couldn't get it out of my mind. I still had the characters and the plot still in my mind, so I went back to it, basically scrapped the entire thing, and did it all over again.
Oh, no.
But what happened was I changed my main character, because the first paragraph I couldn't get down. I had writer's block. But as soon as I changed the character, something just clicked, and the first chapter that I first wrote when I first went back to it after 2 years is still the chapter that I've got today. So, well, it's the prologue now, but
yeah, that's good. So yeah, and that's the one you've now finished the first draft for?
Yeah, I finished the first draft, and I'm currently working on the second draft, which is going great. But yeah, I'm probably going to do that for the Nanowrimo next month to help me get through it, because I've never done the second draft before, and it's a little bit, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what to do. But it's nice though, because I've got you and another friend reading it at the moment. So while you lot are reading that, I'm sieving through it. So,
yeah. Because I've figured out now that novels and books, I'm very slow at reading, so I'm like just slowly getting through it. But no, so far I am really enjoying it. Eager to find out what's going to happen, because I know some of the stuff about the book before this, later in, and at the moment I have no idea how that's gonna fit in. So I'm really curious to find out what happens between the beginning and the end, or the beginning of the end.
Yeah, I was it's quite crazy actually because I was I don't know if I told you or not. I was debating doing a complete rewrite in draft two. I obviously was going to keep
Yes.
most themes for like the second half, but pretty much the whole of the beginning was going to be completely different. And I actually started writing the first chapter
Yeah.
of that, and I still got it now. But my other friend who's reading was like, "Do not change it. I like how it is now."
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
decided to keep it how it was before, but what I did write, I'm going to somehow put in later
Okay.
on. But yeah,
Yeah.
most of the themes that I got for the when I got the idea in 2014 is still heavily in the book, even though I changed the main character. But yeah, I'm
Nice. That's
excited
good.
to I'm excited
It's
to
good you
finally
still
get
got
to
the
it.
sort of
Yeah,
main things.
yeah. But at the moment, I don't know how. I know roughly how it's going to end, but I'm like struggling at the
Yeah.
moment. I think that's one of the main things that I'm wanting the feedback for is for the ending because I'm not happy with the ending at the
And
moment.
yeah.
But it's roughly how I want it to go. But I have an image and it's just writing down the
Oh, okay.
image that I have in my
Yeah.
mind. Um, but yeah,
Endings are hard.
yeah, especially because like it kind of ends in like a little cliffhanger. So it's like trying to end it
Yeah.
as well as I can, basically.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to describe to your book, or is it because you want to rewrite it, or there's not much you want to tell just in case,
Well, like I said,
or is there too much?
I've kept like most of what I have. There are like a few changes, but it basically is how what you're
Yeah.
reading is what it is still.
Okay.
But yeah, it's like a horror with like a sprinkle of fantasy throughout. Um, I would say, but obviously in the second draft, the horror is going to be more prominent in it, whereas now it's not really
Yeah.
in it yet.
Nice.
Well, at least at the beginning and the middle part, and like the part that you described is a bit,
Yeah.
horrific. Um, but yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
more horror, and it's gonna be very gory. So if you think that was gory, wait till the end.
Oh. Okay. I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's fun, but yeah,
Nice.
it's got walls in it. It's got an insane asylum in it. And yeah, I'm just enjoying writing it.
That's cool.
You
So
want to tell
yeah,
you a bit about your
that's
book?
no. I'm joking. uh,
No.
so yeah, to start off with, it was gonna be a full-on horror. That was the main thing. So the first quarter, maybe half of the book was full-on horror, and it was very descriptive and mm, questionable. Well, not questionable. It's just a lot of gore and stuff and descriptive. But as I said earlier, because I didn't write any notes or anything of it, I didn't have an exact idea. So as I had breaks and came back to it and stopped doing it for a year and then finally planned it all, the ending, like the other half of it, is more of a thriller. So I've got to go through and change all the beginning to make it more of a thriller. Otherwise, it'll be quite confusing because, as I said, start off with if it's a full-on horror and you're expecting lots of stuff to happen, but then it's kind of evolves into a drama thriller. You're gonna be left a little bit like, well, uh, but it's more. So yeah, the book itself, it's about a particularly one person escapes a insane asylum. I've still yet to figure out exactly what kind of building it is, but essentially it's just where the people that can't live in general public go to, and two of them manage to escape, letting out all of them in this sort of facility, which is in like a tiny town in America. Or I've yet actually that's one thing I haven't actually figured out is where it's located because I've not described it at all. So it sort of gives you the ability to think up where it is yourself. Um, yeah, it's essentially them escaping and going through the town doing stuff, and couple of horror-y things, but that's what makes it more of a thriller, is certain killings and mishaps. But it's also done in perspective of like 4 different people, so it hops between the main person in the insane asylum, a sheriff, and a couple of other people that dots around. So it sort of, yeah, makes it a bit more immersive. Hopefully, that's the hope for it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've done. I wouldn't even say I've done the first draft yet because it's all wrong, but I've written the beginning to the end. I still need to go through it to, as I said, swap the genres around and make sure it actually fits properly. But yeah, that I think took me 2.5 years, I want to say.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nano was the main help for that. But yeah, that's the one I'm finished writing. But yeah, I think it was when you were writing your second book idea before you finished the first one. I then came up with a sci-fi novel, which I wrote a chapter, and then stopped because I was reading too many sci-fi books. And as I just
Yeah.
finished a horror thriller novel, it got a bit tricky because I still needed to plan it all. So I'm like, okay, I'm not going to redo what I did in the first one and mess it all up, especially if it's a sci-fi that's, say, twice the thickness as the thriller one. I don't want to have to reread that all 10 times to try and fix it. But yeah, I have a couple of other book ideas and stuff that's I'm working on, but yeah, the thriller one's the one I need to try and focus on and finish.
Yeah, is that going to be
Yeah,
the one that you work on if you do Nano next month? Or
yeah, definitely. But yeah, I think there's the thriller one and 2 others that I've started and need to carry on. But yeah, I'm definitely gonna use Nano to sort of add in the word count, add a word count in a bit better. Because yeah, I think one of them's half done,
yeah.
so I'm hoping to finish that off as well. But that's only going to be a little ditty short novel, which is quite nice
Oh,
compared
your little
to
novella.
the others that I've been writing. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, what books do you want to just explain your current writing one, the second book that your idea you had, or you want to
Um,
leave that one
the
for
other
now?
ones I've stopped for the moment because the other one, I'll call it SOS because that's part of the title. But I finished the first
Yeah.
draft of that, but it's not a very long draft. It's only like, I think it's 27,000,
Oh,
I
okay.
want to say. So it's looking like it is going to be a short novel. But I did get everything that I wanted to
Oh,
get in
okay.
that draft. I just obviously need to
That's good.
add more things to bulk it up and obviously detail it more and do the
Yeah.
world building and all that sort of stuff. But again, that's like a
Okay.
horror novel,
Cool.
kind of thrillery. I can't remember when I got the idea for this novel, and it's bugging the hell out of me because obviously my other novel I got the idea in 2014, whereas this one I have no
Yeah.
idea when I got the idea, but it's been years.
Oh no.
I remember
Yeah.
how I got the idea. I was listening to, do you know Nightingale by Demi Lovato? Do you know that song?
Yes. Yeah.
I was listening to that song and it just, like, the idea for the novel just came in my head and I was like, oh,
Oh wow.
another book
That's a
idea.
Yeah, that's a cool way to get a book idea.
I know that normally doesn't like happen to me. Like normally I'll get like, I already have the idea and when I listen to music, it goes on from that, but I never get an
Oh yeah.
idea from a song. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, I've had the idea for that novel for at
Yeah.
least a few years or so. So yeah, I was happy to finally get the first draft of that done. But I think
Yeah.
with the writing level that I'm at now, I'm not ready for that novel yet, and that's like people always say it's hard to like know
Yeah. Okay.
when you're ready
Yeah,
for
I
a
get
novel or not.
that.
But for that one, I don't think I am yet. So I'm taking a break from that one for now, but mainly because I want to finish my first novel first, and get all that
Yeah.
done. And I'm also I started a romance thrillery book. It was
Oh,
started
okay.
off as a romance, just a romance, but as I was writing it, I already had it outlined fully, start to finish. But as I was writing it, I got bored so easily because obviously I'm so used to writing in a horror
Oh no.
genre that romance was like nothing's happening, nothing's going on, and I'm just like bored. Like normally, I'm looking forward to getting to a certain chapter, but for this one, like there were certain parts obviously that I wanted to write, but I was bored. And
Yeah.
like I can't
I
remember
love
what
that.
his name was, but I think it's Jerry something, and he
Okay.
said that if you're bored, your reader's asleep. So I tried to think of that,
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah.
okay, if I'm bored, like, what's the reader gonna be like? They're gonna be like, they're not gonna want to read it. So I
Yeah.
added some thrillery things into it. So I re-outlined it,
Oh, okay.
start to finish, and I did, I want to say 10,000 on that draft, but I've taken a break from it for now.
That's
So
really good.
obviously my other two
Yeah.
books I've
Yeah.
been
I have.
prioritizing. But yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, I have the same issue with the. Yeah, one of the ones I'm writing is a romance y kind of one, and yeah, I'm having the same issue. I'm not bored yet, but I'm thinking like I'm trying to think of. I know where the book's gonna end, but it's everything in between. I'm like, what's gonna happen? Because I can't just. I can't think of it just being a normal chill book like, oh, they go on this thing and they do this thing, they meet this
Yeah,
person, and I was
yeah,
just like, there's got to something's got to happen. And at the moment, I'm like, I could do something bad to one of the characters to sort of throw a spanner in the works.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I've not carried on from that just in case, because the last thing I want to do is do that and then have to completely change the whole feel to the book.
yeah.
So yeah, I'm a bit stuck on that at the moment.
I didn't change literally everything, but I changed most things because I kept on having scenes that was in a school, and I was like, oh, another
Yeah.
scene in a school where they go to class and they talk with their classmates,
Uh,
and it's just like I don't want to write that. It's not
Oh,
very,
yeah.
it's not my sort of thing that I like writing, so I changed it. So the main
Yeah.
character, he basically his wife has like followed him. He's tried like escaping to like a different country, and she's like
Oh,
followed him, and she's found him, and she's like very like abusive, and
nice.
people think that she's
Yeah.
this really nice person and she's a lawyer and everything. And yeah, it's just,
Yeah.
it's
That sounds
added
interesting, to
another
be honest.
aspect to the novel, and it's definitely helped with it. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
so yeah, got like 9 at least different other ideas in my head of
So
things that I
many.
want to get to like now, but obviously I can't because I've got 3 projects that I've started and not finished. So
Yeah. So,
yeah,
but yeah, that's a good follow up to Nano, because that's definitely a good time to sort of get back into the writing of everything, and sort of especially I think with drafts it's a bit tricky to do Nano because obviously it's all focused around the word count opposed to anything else. So unless you know like unless you know that you can bulk out the book, then it would be good to use Nano because you could sell it as like 5,000 words, and then you could add 5,000 words to your first draft, which is good. But I think, yeah, with my book that I finished, um, oh my god, I'm completely lost track of thought. But yeah, the first book I finished, that's it. Yeah, because I'm happy with how it is, at least at the moment. I'm pretty sure I could not add 5,000 words, let alone 1,000 words. Um, so
okay,
yeah, with this Nano coming up, I'm going to use it for rather the sci-fi or the romance one, just to sort of get back into it,
yeah,
because I think that's one thing that I find it useful is the sort of pressure of it all.
yeah, it
It's sort of
definitely
like,
pushes you
oh,
through
I'm
it,
running out
doesn't
of
it?
time.
Yeah,
Yeah, Yeah, are you gonna use Nano for your drafts, or are you gonna carry on writing one of your other ones?
I think I'm going to use it to do the second draft of my current one, so then that gets it out the way.
Nice.
Because I don't want to start another one again. But I do need
Yeah.
to finish that romance one. I was thinking of having the romance one like a short story instead of a full novel, because it is looking like it's going to be
Yeah.
short. Um, but I think it's going to be a little bit longer than what a short story is meant to be
Yeah.
lengthwise. But I'll see how I go.
Okay.
I'll see how I
Okay.
go with it and then decide afterwards. But at the moment, it looks like it's going to be a normal short book size,
Yeah.
probably like a novella.
Yeah. My romance one is I've set it to only do 30,000 words for it, so it's gonna be super short. But because the idea I have, it's gonna span across two, maybe three books, so I'm gonna have a set of smaller books opposed to one big one, which is good because then that way I can like do one say this year and then do another one in a couple of years time, and not worry too much about it. But they're set like years apart from one another, the book ideas, so that's handy as well because then I could just randomly do them without too much of worry about it.
Yeah,
But yeah, I definitely have the same issue because I was starting to write it, and when I had all the ideas, I'm like, this is going to end up being really small unless I do like a big catastrophe or something, which wouldn't fit well with the genre of the book that I'm doing. Um, but yeah, compared to the first book I've done, I think that one's a 70 something thousand, so that's like twice the thickness as what the romance is going to be.
yeah,
Um, but yeah, I think unless romance has got some sort of added thing to it, sort of like Twilight, for example, like because it's romance, but because it's romance, but with like vampires and werewolves and all of that, you can write so much more. But if it was just a school romance, the book would probably be like that thick. Like, it'd be kind of. I am looking forward to this Nano though, because the last three I've tried doing and failed absolutely miserably. I think I only managed to do like 3 or 4 days of the month writing and only managed to do like maybe 2,000 words out of the 10,000 I wanted to do. Um,
yeah.
so I'm hoping to sort of do a bit better this time. Um, but yeah, I think it's good that I'm at a good place. I think to do Nano this time because of like the places I'm at with the books that I'm writing. I feel confident enough to do at least 5,000 words. I want to do more, but I'm setting that as my goal probably because it's a nice amount. But yeah, you were saying that you were going to do it for your first draft, so you're going to do like a big goal, or you're going to do a little one just to sort of help.
I'm thinking of doing, because the first draft was 75,000. So I'm
Ooh,
thinking of
yeah,
setting it as that. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to do that. Because
yeah,
that is doable, because obviously
it's a
most
lot.
of it is already written. I just need to bulk it up a bit. But it's just having the
Yeah,
time, because I'm possibly going to get like a part-time job soon, possibly. So
yes,
I'll
be
have
good.
to see if I'll be able to. But yeah, hopefully I can
Yeah,
write something. I might just put it as like 50k or 30k or something.
uh,
But I do
yeah,
want to be like tougher on myself to actually complete it this year, because it's been like a couple of years since I've
yeah,
been able to do it fully yet. So we'll see how I go.
yeah. Yeah, it's because it is quite tricky though. You have because I think when I first did Nano, because it was the first time I did it, I'm like, I gotta do it, I gotta do it, I gotta do it. But because I've done so many since then, it's got to a point where I start off in that mindset. But then if I miss 2 or 3 days, I'm like, I'll catch up, I'll catch up. And then it turns out I've got like 3 days left. I've done 50 words, and I'm just like, uh, because yeah, actually, I remember one of I think it was actually the very first Nano again, where I was only managing. Like, I think I set the goal at like I can't remember the goal, but it was big for the amount that I've had written for the book already. Um, and yeah, I think to start for the first 25 days, I barely wrote half of the daily goal. So obviously, when it come to the last week, I had so much to have to write to get it. But thankfully, then because I wrote every day, I'm like, okay, I've got to finish this off, and I think I managed to do like 3 or 4 thousand words in like a couple of days because I did it every day, even though it was only 50 to 100 words. That sort of got me in the rhythm with it. But yeah, more recently it's more. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll write more tomorrow and double the amount of what I've missed, and then I don't.
Never do. Yeah, that's what I do. I think this time I might
Yeah, I think
like do
also
double
I
the
forget.
amount that I was meant to the first day, and then because I do the same thing when
Yeah,
I miss one day, it then turns into two, and then it's a week. And by then, I'm just like, I might as well not do it now because I'm gonna lose anyway because I'm a week
yeah,
behind. um, but yeah,
yeah.
might double it.
I feel that. Yeah, this time I think also all the other times I never did the first day. I think I always forgot when it was, or I kind of was busy and then didn't. When I realized it was Nano, it was already like a week in. Um, so I think that didn't help. So this time I'm going to make sure that on the very first day I'm actually doing something because I think that will obviously help as well. Just sort of make your brain aware that it's like, oh, it's time. I've got to get into gear and start writing. Oh,
Yeah, I
yeah,
might just
yeah,
re-outline a lot so then I know what I'm going to write because I think that's one of the problems is when I get to a certain point I'm like I don't know what to put now. I'm stuck, and I think that's what
okay,
starts it off.
yeah,
So this time I think even though I know mainly what I'm going to write, I need to bulk it up with what I need to add and everything.
yeah, yeah. I think also, yeah, I think talking about Nano and all of that, I think it's another good segue to our writing progress. I thought it says process, but process is a bit of a tricky one because for me it's yeah. Whenever I have that writing motivation, I sit down and write. It's because it's fleeting. Sometimes I'm in the mood and I'm say up in London. I'm like I want to write, but I can't. Or it's the other way around where I'm able to write, but I physically can't push myself to. But yeah, the progress of it, I think we've already gone through that, haven't we? So when we're talking about what we've been writing in it,
Progress, yeah, of how what we're going to do next and everything. Yeah, I think we've basically covered that.
yeah,
Um, but another thing that you can do to help you with Nano and to help with your progress is prompts that we normally do.
yes, yeah, prompts are very handy because I think that's what we did on the first one, wasn't it? A lot of was prompts
Yeah, we
and
kept on. I think we like
sprints and stuff.
chose like a bunch of prompts, and then we just went through those for the
Yeah.
whole of the session that we did. Um, but I now, if I try and find it, I have this app called Daily Prompt, and it's free, and it sends you
Oh, that's good. Oh
every
yeah.
day at a certain time. It sends you a couple of prompts that you can do. It's either in an image or or like a paragraph. I don't know if this will show if I show the camera this.
Okay.
I can try it,
That's cool though.
and it looks like that.
Oh, okay.
So you either
Yeah.
get an image,
Cool.
and it says begin your story with a poem or a descriptive paragraph of a line, and then you can go with that, or it just gives you like a normal prompt that you can do. So yeah, I found that really helpful, and I
Oh,
basically on
nice.
days that I'm not in the mood to write, I just
Yeah.
screenshot it. So now I've got like a bunch of screenshots of ones that I want to
That's
do.
yeah. Prompts are handy because it sort of gives you a well, it's not really a goal to go towards, but like say you want to write half a chapter, and or if you just sit down and like I want to write, and sometimes you get to that point where you're like I do not know what I know where I want the book to go, but I don't know what to put down, and that's when prompts do come in handy because it sort of gives you something to sort of add in and put in, so you can sort of yeah like focus it on that opposed to trying to figure out exactly what you want to write. So you could just waffle on for a bit in the writing and just add like I don't know, say the prompt was a, a fog rolls in or something like that. Like that's a good way to sort of be like, okay, so I can get this person outside, so then at least you can be in the fog and sort of, yeah, it gives you a point to go to, which I always liked. Um, but yeah, because there's different ones, isn't there? There's like word prompts, objects prompts, um, sentence prompts, feelings.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
can be
there's
scent of
loads.
something. It can be basically anything. And like I said, it could
Yeah,
be images as well. But yeah, sometimes it's funny because it can be like the most randomest things. Because I remember in my first draft, I had to add like a leaf into the sentence. So then when I was
yeah,
rereading it, I was like, that is so
yeah,
random. How the hell does that work? And I was like, oh, it was a prompt that I had to do.
yeah. That was me.
Add it into the sentence.
I think that was the prompt I did. Yeah, I think because we were trying to do prompts and stuff. I think yeah, leaf was the one that I gave.
I think it was like at the scene where there's like a dead body and it was like there was a leaf on the dead body and I was like, why did I randomly put that there's a leaf on them? Like that's so random. But yeah.
Nice. Uh, uh, I mean, at least you used the prompt.
Yeah, I used it. Not well, but you know.
Yeah.
That's another thing when you do like writing prompts in a writing sprint. It forces you to
Yeah.
like not think too much in it, just like add it in and just see how you go with it.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, that's why I enjoy it. I don't do prompts very often. I need to start doing it again. I might do it for Camp Nano actually. Start doing prompts and writing sprints.
Yeah. Yes. I think sprints are also good, but sprints and prompts I think are like the perfect combo. Because
Yeah, definitely.
I do they're the 15-minute ones, so it's just literally time of 15 minutes, and you write in that time, and then you stop, and then you do it again, and you stop however many times you want. Um, but the amount of times that have tried it and doing the things, I say the first time I do 15 minutes, I'm writing non-stop. The second one, I'm like, great, I've had time to think, and now I don't know what to write. So that's when prompts come in handy because it just sort of, yeah, it could, especially in 15 minutes, you're like trying to rush write in a way. So having a prompt there to sort of guide you, it helps quite a lot,
Yeah, it
especially with
helps
that.
like loosen your mind and like focus your mind
Yeah.
on like the prompt that you've been given instead of
Yes.
whatever that you've been thinking in your mind.
Yeah, I think this nano, I think we definitely need to do more sprints and prompts and stuff because we know they work. It's just sort of, I think, trying to get ourselves to do it.
I think the last few times that we've done them, we just haven't done it because we can't think of ones that go in the genre that we're writing in.
Yeah.
But I found a bunch of, because of the app, I found a bunch more that could help. So that should be it.
Nice.
So yeah,
Cool.
if any of you haven't tried prompts, I definitely recommend
Yeah,
like looking them up. You can just
definitely,
like
definitely.
Google them, and it will come up with a bunch of different ones that you can put in your book.
Yeah, yeah. Or even, I guess you could do like a word randomizer or something like that on Google because I'm pretty sure there's stuff like that. So you could just get random words and stuff.
Or you can go in
Um,
like your maybe like scroll through your Pinterest and like click a random image and
yes.
like write something that comes to mind when you look at that image. Because that's another thing of how I got the idea for my first novel is I saw a picture on Pinterest and it gave me the idea for that novel. So I definitely recommend
Yeah.
Pinterest as well if you haven't got that already.
Yeah, because I think images are even more handy than just sort of words because it gives you a visual
Definitely.
guidance.
Yeah.
So yeah, say like you see a picture of a castle, you see the surrounding areas, you see the sort of feeling you get from it, the look of it, and even if you end up just describing what's in the image, that's still better than not having a clue. Um, yeah, images definitely come in handy because even if yeah, from like just a forest or buildings and stuff, it's just handy to have a visual thing to describe or even to sort of grow an idea off of, as you said. But yeah,
Definitely. Another thing that helps me is live writing sprints. So I follow lots of
yes,
author tubers or people that just like writing on YouTube, and they do live writing sprints,
yeah,
and I go on that and I just joining in the writing sprints, and that definitely helps with the motivation, because while you're waiting for the next one, you're just chatting with other people and you're looking at how many words they've got in that sprint, and it definitely motivates you to do better, or like it makes you feel good if you got like around about the same words that they got in. So I definitely recommend doing that if any of you haven't tried that yet.
Yeah, I think because I've never done a live one. I think I always miss it, or I never know that they're on. So I always do the sort of uploaded live versions. So when it comes to the chat part, I usually skip it because I'm like, I can't interact with them, and also I'm like, I want to do another sprint, skip. But no, I think if it's live, because you get to interact with people and sort of have that moment of chatting, even if it's online and maybe the video person might not see it, you're still interacting with the chat and everything, and I think that helps to sort of give you a moment's break as well in the writing, because if you just say sit there for 5 minutes not doing anything, just waiting, that's sort of that I think that usually what makes me not be able to do more than 2 or 3 sprints is because when it gets to a point where I'm like, okay, I'll quickly grab a glass of water while they're doing the live chats, um, I usually sort of forget the rhythm that I was writing and all of that. But I think because you're talking to people, it's a different kind of busyness to then just sort of sitting there doing nothing, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that sometimes happens to me where I'm in a rhythm, or like most of the sprint, I wasn't in a rhythm at all, and then just right before that we have our break is I start getting in that, and then I have to stop, and I'm just like, but sometimes I carry on anyway
Nice.
if I'm in a rhythm, even over them talking, or I mute them or whatever, and I carry on with the sprint that I'm doing.
Yeah, that's good.
And that definitely helps. But yeah, I find it helps a lot where I'm doing the sprint and then we have a break and then we chat about it, or we chat about writing or something completely different, and then we go into another sprint. That definitely always helps me, and it definitely helps with your motivation, like knowing that you're not writing by yourself, because it's a very like an isolated hobby where you're writing by yourself all the time. And I find it
Definitely.
more motivating if I know that I'm writing with somebody else, even if we're not like face to face. It definitely
Yeah,
helps
I'm the
motivate
same.
me to keep on writing, because like when we went to the library and we did some writing sprints, that definitely helped me
Yeah,
to like stay motivated and
that's it. Yeah,
keep writing and stuff. But when you're by yourself,
yeah,
sometimes even if you're in the mood to write, sometimes I feel demotivated to actually get any work done,
yeah.
because I'm just like,
I have them
yeah,
issue too many times. Because yeah, even as you said, if you're motivated and say like I'm motivated, I'm sitting down on the computer, I've got it all up. It's not that it's not like I get distracted easily, but I'm more inclined to sort of go on my phone and then end up staying on my phone or being like, oh, okay, let me get some music up, and then I end up watching YouTube videos for the next hour. Uh,
yeah,
if you're with someone, you're less inclined to do because
definitely.
say we have a call and we're like, okay, we'll do some writing for an hour. Say after the hour's up, you're like, oh wow, I just did 5,000 words. How did you do? And I wouldn't feel good if I'm just like, I watched a couple of YouTube videos.
Yeah,
So sort of having that sort of presence of other people doing it with you not only is sort of gives you a motivator, it also makes you inclined to stick to writing instead of getting distracted by other things. For me, anyways, I do that too much.
definitely helps, because I'm pretty much in the writing mood every single day, but I don't have the motivation to actually
Nice.
sit at my desk and get some writing done, because I
Yeah,
think there's just so many
I get
distractions
that.
now. Most of it is like my phone,
Yeah.
and it's just like every time like I put my phone away and I'm like, okay, I need to write a bit, like someone messages me and I'm like, oh, I need to check it because
Yeah.
someone's messaged me, and then I just end up watching
I
YouTube,
know. I have that.
and it's
It's
so
annoying.
annoying. But another thing that helps me get in
Yeah.
the mindset to write, or the writing mood, is when I'm watching like writing vlogs. Um, it just like it really helps me get in the
Oh,
mood to writing,
nice.
because I'm like, oh, they're
Yeah.
writing all these word counts and all that, and it just like puts me in the mood to want to write my
Yeah.
novel. Um, But then I end
Yeah,
up
I get
like
that.
watching like 10 freaking writing vlogs, and I don't get any writing done myself.
Yeah. So though it motivates you, it kind of counterproductive.
Yeah, it's a bit of a
But
battle
yeah,
there.
even though yeah, even though as we were saying, like it's nice to write with other people. At the same time, I think writing in a place where you're not usually are helps a lot. Because I only did it once or twice, I think. But I used to before the virus happened. I used to just sort of, I think it was the Stones near me. They had like a nice cafe area on the top floor, and it's quite
Yeah.
peaceful. You have people chatting and stuff, but it's more white noise than loud children. So, but no, I think I did go in there to a couple of times to read or to write, and it's just sort of because it's a different environment and because the sole purpose you're there is to write or read and have a drink. It's I feel more inclined to actually do it if I'm there for that reason. So like even though I have my phone on me and I get messages and stuff, if I have it because yeah, as I said, because I'm there, because I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go to this place, I'm gonna sit here for an hour, write or read, one of the two. That always helped me, I think. But because of things recently, the only place I can write is in my bedroom, and that has too many distractions, i.e., a PlayStation and YouTube and my phone and my Switch. So yeah, the list goes on. Um, so yeah, too many distractions. But I am because I have my Chromebook. It's a bit broken. It's barely works. I think that also is handy when I do use it. Um, when we met up, I think no, when we met up, I used my old laptop, which has died on itself. But because the Chromebook's so slow, the only thing I can do is write. So that's always quite handy because it doesn't allow me to do anything else. Um, but yeah, that I do need to use more. But I can't wait to be able to go out and just chill somewhere and write or read. Because yeah, that always helps me, even if it's just the once to kickstart the sort of rhythm of it all. It always helps me at least. But yeah,
Yeah, it definitely helps like writing in different areas, even if it's just like going from like because of Corona, I've obviously had to stay in my house most. Or even if you just go like right in your garden or in your front garden or go from your bed to your
yeah,
desk, like it definitely helps because sometimes I'm in the mood to write at my desk and sometimes I just want to chill in my bed and write in my bed. But it definitely helps.
yeah,
Like I did like during the nice day to like go outside and like get my laptop and put it on the table outside and write out there. And
yeah,
cafes are definitely another thing that I enjoy doing. Like when we went to London and we wrote
yes.
in that cafe, it was really nice
Oh,
to
that
like
I
write
remember
there.
that. That was a really nice.
It was. Hopefully that place is still open because that was
Yeah,
like a small business, wasn't it?
yeah. I've completely forgotten what it was
I
called,
know. I was
where it
thinking that
was.
myself. I was hoping you were remembering what it was called because I've completely forgot what it's called.
I'll probably find it somewhere. Bookshop Cafe. So I think it had like the
Yeah,
bookstore on the top, and then we went underneath. It was kind of
yeah,
diddy.
yeah. It was a
Um,
tiny little bookstore, and then you went
but
downstairs
yeah,
to the cafe. Yeah,
yeah. I might actually look that up after this. Try and hunt.
yeah. Hopefully it's still open.
But yeah, because that one was perfect. Because yeah, though there was only like enough seats for 4 couples,
Yeah, I think there was
like
like
it was
four
only
different
tiny
tables.
tables and stuff.
Yeah,
It, though a lot of the people that were there weren't were rather just chill chatting. They weren't like a group of like a hen party coming down and stuff like that. It was just chill people that were there, or other people on there writing like us and stuff like that. So it was quite perfect,
it was
I
really
think,
nice.
that place.
Yeah,
But yeah, unlike mainstream sort of cafes with baristas and stuff, because you get a lot of noise out of that, like Costa and Starbucks. They're like harbours of noise.
I know.
um,
Like sometimes I
yeah.
went to the Costa up by where I used to live in Caterham, and
Oh, yeah.
they had a really nice cafe there, and I used to sit on the seat and do some writing. And I used to get
Yeah.
quite a lot of writing done there. Um, but yeah, it was really nice down there.
Okay. I think we've covered everything we wanted to. So I think next week, next episode we are going to talk more about writing, but hopefully have a guest with us.
Yes, we'll be.
No idea who yet, but hopefully someone with. I'm hoping it'll be someone who's written a book and published a book, so we can have a bit of a
mate.
an understanding of like how they've done their writing and what their motivations and stuff was. Because I think depending on the genre depends on what your motivation is.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah.
Because yeah.
We'll ask around to see if like people that we know want to do it, or like we'll send a tweet out to ask any of you if any of you wanted to be a guest, whether it's the next episode or one of our soon-to-be episodes. So yeah, please,
any after.
So let us know if you do want a guest on here, and then that should be up in a couple of weeks.
Just anyone interested in books and writing, anything,
and it doesn't have to be video like we're doing. It can be just audio if that's what you're comfortable with as well. So don't feel like you have to have the video on, because we do.
Yes. Yeah. Hopefully we can find one. But yeah, we've got plenty of time till that day. But yeah, thank you all for listening or watching, or that's the only way you can consume the content. But yeah, it's been good, and hopefully we can do some writing in between.
Yes. Thanks for watching, guys. Bye.